Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today we will talk about the four most common variety of orchids out there, the ones in my opinion that you can find locally in your garden center, flower shop, and I believe in most continents as well, especially from my experience from South America and in the European continent. These are the orchids that you will find for sale somewhere. And how can you identify the type of orchids that you have? And when you know the type of orchids that you have, it's much easier for you to research, watch videos, anyway, look for books about that orchid and understand how it works. So let's start. The first orchid that I have in here, and I think it's one of the most common one, and it's one of the most suitable orchids for beginners as well. It's the Philinopsis orchid or the moth orchid. How can we identify that you have a Philinopsis with you? That's pretty easy. First of all, look at the leaves. So the leaves, they will come in this rosette type of shape. One leaf will sprout after another leaf, and then you have another leaf. The leaves are usually large and that they are kind of rounded, I would say. And the main thing that you have with Philinopsis is that they have a central axis. That's called the stem, and the stem will sprout leaves, and they also have a crown where the new leaves will come from. Philinopsis orchids, they usually produce a very long flower spike, at least the most common ones that we find locally. There are other types of Philinopsis, I'm not covering them here, but usually we will identify Philinopsis when you look to this very tall flower spike that will produce many flowers. The flowers will come with different shapes and also different colors, but most of them will have petals and sepals that are like round, and some people think that they resemble the moth, some of the moths, so that's why they are called the moth orchid. Some Philinopsis, they will have a lip that will have a different color, so let's say the whole plant is purple but the lip's white, or the whole plant is, let's say, orange and the lip is purple. It's very common for Philinopsis to have a contrast lip. This one specifically that I have in my hand is all purple, has only one color. But when you look to the lip, you notice that the lip has a ton of dots. So it is a little bit different from the rest of the flower. Generally speaking, Philinopsis orchid will push out a flower spike that will not come from the top of the plant. It will come among the leaves. So if you count, usually 2 leaves down is where the flower spike will sprout. These plants, they are also seasonal, but we see them in bloom all the time in flower shops and garden centers because they are induced to bloom artificially. Inside our homes, they will bloom when the temperature drops, and that's usually in the end of winter when spring is approaching. So these are the cutest plants that you can find out there. Their flowers will last for a while, for at least more than a month, maybe 2 to 3 months. And they are pretty affordable where I live. I have a whole playlist about Philinopsis if you want to learn more about how to water, to look after them. But these are some general tips for you to identify if what you have, it is a Philinopsis or moth orchid. Let's go to the next one. The next orchid in my list, it's Cattleya orchids. These beauties are known as the queen of the orchid because of its striking, colorful flowers and fragrance. Cattleyas are not that common where I live here in the UK, but I know that you can find them locally in garden centers in Europe, and I know that they are very common in South America as well. So how can you identify this beauty? Not only looking at the flowers, Cattleyas have thick and leathery leaves, and that's very important. But not only that, they also have pseudobulbs, different from Philinopsis that I told you that we have central axis, where the leaves will sprout one after another one. Cattleya will have these 6 pseudobulbs, which are swollen stems, and the pseudobulbs, they will store water and nutrients. The flowers typically have a ruffled lip, which is usually a different color from the petals and sepals like Philinopsis. This case here, the example is the same color as the rest of the flower. You can see that the lip is a little bit ruffled. Some Cattleyas will have even more ruffled lips and will have like larger flowers as well. They have different shapes, But I think the easiest way for you to identify is to look into the pseudobulb. They are very specific. They are different from other type of orchids as well, and completely different from Philinopsis. Something else is that not only the striking appearance, but also most of Cattleyas, they will have fragrance. They have different type of fragrance. Some of them will smell like rose, other like some different like lilies. So you have an array of different type of fragrance. When you have your Cattleya inside your house, they can have different sizes as well, miniature, super large ones. But you identify your Cattleya for the super strike flowers. They are lovely, they are gorgeous. The difference here is that the flowers are not as long-lasting as the Philinopsis. They will usually fade within a month or less than a month, but nonetheless, they are gorgeous. So I have also a playlist about Cattleyas. Otherwise, feel free to look on the internet. You'll find lots of information about them and also do your own research. And let's go to the next one. The next orchid that I have here is the Oncidium. I don't have a pure Oncidium in bloom at the moment. I have many with flower spikes. I have here one hybrid, one Oncidium hybrid, intergeneric hybrid. So how can we identify Oncidiums and its hybrids as well? Is looking at the pseudobulb, the long, slender pseudobulb. It's very different from the Cattleyas. Instead of having this super tall pseudobulb, you notice that they are more like oval or round at the base, and also they are used to store nutrients. So Oncidiums, usually they are known as dancing ladies, because when you look to the flowers, they look like ballerines that are dancing. And most of the Oncidium species will produce a ton of tiny flowers, very colorful flowers. And these flowers are also very fragrant. We have the cherry baby that some people say that smell like chocolate, but for me it's like strong vanilla. Other Oncidiums will also have this kind of sweet scent. And not only they are beautiful, but they also push a very tall flower spike full of flowers. Something else that's very striking with Oncidium, if you compare the leaves, especially to Philinopsis and Cattleyas, the leaves are thinner. If you touch the leaves and also the root system, when I look at the pot, they are very thin comparing to the other two. But nonetheless, they are amazing, and I think they are super affordable. And I've seen them in flower shops in all of the continents that I've been in my life. So they are definitely super affordable orchids, and they are lovely. They push out a different arrays of colors as well. And again, there are plenty of information available if you have an Oncidium with you. But look at the flowers. If they resemble some dancing ladies in there and they have this striking pseudobulb, you definitely got an Oncidium with you. So now let's go to the last one, that are dendrobiums. I have a dendrobium in bloom, but it's very, very heavy. I cannot gather it here, but I'll show you some footage. So how can we identify your dendrobium? Again, it's one of the most common type of orchids that we can find locally. Dendrobiums can be easily identifiable by their super tall and slender pseudobulbs. These pseudobulbs can produce multiple flowers along the length of the stem. The flowers themselves are often smaller than those of Philinopsis or Cattleyas, but they come in a wide range of color, including white, purple, and pink. So we have different types of dendrobiums. We have deciduous, semi-deciduous, and the ones that will bloom all over the year. One of the most common type of dendrobiums that we find is the Dendrobium nobile, and this is kind of semi-deciduous because it needs a drop in temperature like a winter to be able to bloom. But another one that's Dendrobium Philinopsis can bloom all year round. Both of them have pseudobulbs that looks like cane. So if you look into the pseudobulb, you will find a cane with many divisions where the flowers will sprout from, and also the leaves. You have yourself a dendrobium, and then you can definitely look for more information about dendrobiums. If you compare to the other ones, is that all of the other ones will push out flower spikes from the middle in between the leaves. The best indication that you got a dendrobium is the type of cane that you have. When you see this cane that looks like a sugar cane, for example, I think it does, sorry. It's just the way they slender, how tall the canes are. You probably have a dendrobium. So they are not difficult to look after, but some of them have some differences, especially in temperature. So it's good for you to research. I hope this video is helpful. If the video was helpful, let me know down below. If there is any type of orchids that you'd like to identify, I would be happy to talk to you about it. And if you enjoyed this type of content, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!